London's a very large city. It must be quite different from Ireland back in the old days. It was so quiet over there, wasn't it?
Oh, it was just as cold over here now, Frank, as it was in those days. Yes, it was very quiet when I was a kid in Ireland and coming over to the big city, but I came over, I wanted to be a singer, that was in my mind, so I stuck with it. You know.
It must have been very strange, a young teenager, you know, all those years ago coming into a big city like this. It must be very strange for you.
Completely
a bit lost.
Completely the opposite of what I was used to. Yeah, absolutely different. Yeah.
How did you go about organising your first band, Lee? Can you tell us what it's called?
Yeah. That was back in 1965, yeah. And I remember the night we were playing in the Catholic club, Quakes Road, Kilburn.
Oh yes, I know.
And a very famous man there was looking after a priest from County Mayo, your own county. He was some character. And I remember the announcer said, "Ladies and gentlemen, Hell's Angels." He said, "Stop! What's all this Hell's Angels bit, you know? A bit of a character." She said, "Can you call yourself Hell's Angels?" So I says, "Well, what are we going to do?" So he said, "I'll tell you what, let's have a competition, fiver. I don't know if the winner ever got the fiver, but we had a competition for whoever came up with the best alternative title." So halfway through the night, somebody wrote up little bits of paper, and the Blue Angels. We were called the Blue Angels, and that's 21 years ago, and my band's still called the Blue Angels. I don't know where the priest is from Mayo, but...
or if the chap ever got his fiver.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Lee, you've done a lot of travelling, I mean, this country and Ireland, but particularly on the continent. You've been very popular on the continent, haven't you?
Well, that started in 1969 when the guy who wrote, Les Reed, one of the guys who wrote all the big hits for Tom Jones, Delilah and all the bit, he wrote a song called Stay a While for Engelbert Humperdinck. Now, I don't know if Engelbert ever heard the song or just didn't like it, but it was given to me, I recorded it, and the next thing I realised I was representing Britain with it. So I didn't realise I'd have a hope at all because all the big stars were...
They were all doing it.
Yeah. So I got back after representing Britain. We did very, very well indeed. We were second, just beaten by 1 point by Spain. I came back and I said, all right, back to the Irish clubs again, keep going. And about a week after I got a telegram saying, your record's gone in at number 5 in 3 different countries. I went to number 1 and I released the next one. I had 2 in the top 10 at the same time, so that was 69, yeah. That was my first introduction to the continent.
You've appeared on the same bill as a lot of famous people, you know, a lot of famous names. Tell us a few of them, maybe.
Oh dear, over the years, everybody from Tom Jones to Val Doonigan, famous comedians, Roy Castle, I did one with him. I did a summer season with Ronnie Corbett, and of course my favourite, I did a couple of Albert Hall shows with my favourite comedian, Stan Boardman. Very funny man.
You were also on the Joe Loss radio show as well.
I did a good few Joe Loss shows. They're a bit nerve-wracking in the old days. It used to be in the afternoon, dinner hour, and live, everything live. No room for mistakes. It was live and that was it.
What about records, Lee? You've had quite a few recording contracts. You've made quite a few records, haven't you?
So many records. And in the old days I used to be able to keep count. I've lost count now completely. But I laughed to myself. I said if I could only make a record, I was happy. I wouldn't want to do any more. And the more you make, the more you want to make. I'm still making. I'm still making.
Still doing it. Lee, it's all clubs, large pubs now with people going out for meals, and it's a bit different from the old days in Ireland when you had thousands of people just go to a dance hall, just a dance only. It must be different.
It's completely different now because people want a bit of comfort now. In the old days you used to go in for the bottle of My Waddy and a dance all night and that was it. But nowadays they want the comfort, the meal, the cabaret and then a little bit of dancing.
You never actually got to meet them then? I mean, now you can walk straight through and talk to people and, you know, come down to the stage and meet them, can't you?
Well, in the old days you just were up there singing, keep them dancing, that was it. But over here now it's, I like mingling with the audience, chatting with them and having a general crack with a microphone in my hand. That's what I do nowadays.
Yeah, every show band singer and every player on bands had a favourite dance hall, a favourite place they like to go. You must have had somewhere you used to like to go to.
Well, over here now, it's a coincidence you said that because we're down here in Holloway Road in the Lord Nelson. John and the lovely Nora very graciously let us do our interview in here. Just up the road is the Gresham Ballroom. That was my favourite because it was the first revolving stage I'd ever seen. While one band were coming off, the other band be coming on. I loved all that. That was my favourite.
There must have been quite a few funny things happening in those days. Can you remember any particular thing that was very funny?
Well, the only funny thing I remember is it was a fancy dress one night and all the band had to dress up as different people and my drummer dressed up as a girl, a schoolgirl. but unfortunately the elastic in his underpants had come away and the audience were falling about. I couldn't see because I had my back to him. I couldn't see, but it was on video as well that night.
Well, everything
one of the early videos, and everybody got an eyeful, and that was about the funniest thing I'd ever seen, yeah.
Lee, with all the recording and all the travelling and touring you're doing, is it getting harder or easier over the years now?
It's, well, naturally it's getting harder when you've been going 25 years slugging it, but I'm writing a lot of songs now and trying to produce a lot of records for different people as well as myself, so I'm trying to gradually break into that, but as long as they come to hear me singing, I love singing. When they stop coming, then I know it's time to stop singing.
Of the 50s and the 60s, all that rock and roll, and then you had the 70s, and now we're in the 80s. What was your favourite decade of the lot?
I would have to say the very late 50s and early 60s was my favourite time, yeah. When the recordings were really raw and everything was an adventure, but now when you start learning and know a little bit more about it, it's not as exciting as it was in those days.
What about the future, Lee? Any plans for the future? You got some new records coming out? Or
I've got a brand new country song which I've wanted to record for years, an old song by Freddie Fender, Before the Next Teardrop Falls. That's coming out very, very shortly, and my big ambition, has been my ambition for 20 years, is to record a country album, hopefully of my own songs, but if not, I'll mix it in some of my own and some famous country songs.
Well, Lee, it's been very nice having this chat with you, and as I said, we had a short space of time to try and tell as much of your story as possible. But I know for myself, and I hope all your fans out there, hope that this story has been going on for some time yet.
Thank you very much, Frank, and thanks for all your help.